2 more Israeli hostages have died in Hamas captivity. There's early reports of a significant strike at a school in northern Gaza, and U.S. troops are attacked 3 more times in Iraq and Syria. What's going on, everyone? Let's take a look at some updates as it relates to the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. I'm recording this at 8 a.m. Central on Saturday, November 18th, 2023. Starting on the battlefield with the potential for a northern front that continues to simmer, Hezbollah claimed responsibility for 13 different attacks into Israeli territory yesterday, which sounds about right from the different reports I've seen. Now, some of those attacks would have included multiple rockets or multiple mortars being fired, a lot of ATGMs against Israeli outposts. Overall, a significant uptick in activity in that sector. Now, Israel, as expected, responded by striking multiple Hezbollah targets, which is kind of continuing this tit-for-tat up north, while the primary focus for Israel remains in Gaza. Now, Israel did not release the names of any additional soldiers that were killed in the past 24 hours. Now, it's worth noting that there's a process of notifying the families before any of that information is made public. So generally, we won't see that information for at least 24 hours after the event, if not longer. Now, the Gaza Health Ministry, which updates casualty statistics inside of Gaza, also did not update their information in the last 24 hours. Now, Israel, so far during the operation in Gaza, has been able to recover the bodies of 2 of the hostages that were taken on October 7th. One was a soldier from their guard post. They recovered a couple days ago and returned home to be buried. And it looks like in the past 24 hours, they were able to recover the second body of a hostage. This one, a woman around 55 years old, I believe, a mother. There's still around 240 hostages that remain in Hamas's captivity. And Hamas put out yesterday, amidst this news, that another Israeli hostage died in their care due to panic attacks he suffered as Israeli bombs fell near his location. Now, to be clear here, even if that is the cause of the man's death, the panic attacks due to the Israeli bombings, the fault of that man's death does not sit with Israel, it sits with Hamas, the people who took him from his home and are holding him hostage against his will. Now, Gaza Now, Palestinian news outlet, has been putting out information that sick and wounded from the Al-Shifa hospital were forced from the hospital and given just 1 hour to evacuate along with the hospital staff. The Israeli Defense Forces pushed back on this, saying that they never demanded that everyone evacuate, but instead they agreed with hospital staff to facilitate the evacuation of those who would like to do so via a secure route. Again, Israel has the entire hospital surrounded. Somebody's not just going to be able to get up and leave if they want to. So what Israel is saying is that they are facilitating the evacuation for any patients or medical personnel that want to leave. Additionally, the IDF put out that medical personnel will be allowed to remain in the hospital to assist those unable to evacuate as the IDF provides additional humanitarian aid to the facility. All right, and in terms of what's been found or not found in and around the Shifa hospital, again, Israel has said that that is used as a Hamas military facility underneath, in and around, storing weapons, command and control, things like that. Hamas has denied that. The Gaza Health Ministry has denied that. So it looks like Israel, they put out a couple pictures showing what they say is another tunnel that they uncovered on the hospital grounds. Looks like they're starting to explore that to a degree. And then the IDF put out a graphic that I thought was worth bringing up here, saying, how does Hamas use the Shifa hospital? And they call out 5 points I'm going to walk through. I'm going to be critical of these because I think this is a big claim. To claim that a hospital is a military facility or is compromised and is now being used as a military facility is a big claim. I think that a lot of this stuff has to be airtight. So we're going to walk through, and I don't think it is quite yet. If you just look at how this has been received in the international community, I think the people that are fully in support of Israel and believe everything Israel says, it's enough. Check that box. I don't think this has been enough yet for the broader international community, if you will. So number one, IDF says that Hamas uses the Shifa hospital as a command and control center to plan and direct attacks. I don't think we have that quite yet in terms of it actually being a command and control center. I think that's still information that has yet to be shown. 2, as a storage space for weapons and rockets. Yes, there's weapons in and around. There was footage just a couple days ago before Israel went into the Shifa hospital showing a Hamas fighter walking out of the hospital with an RPG and firing it as Israeli forces. And then we've got the multiple videos at this point showing weapons either stored in or around the facility. 3, as a source of resources, exploiting hospital electricity, oxygen, and other materials for its terrorist activities. That, what I've seen so far, is kind of a he said, she said type situation. We've got people on both sides arguing whether that's happening or it's not. I think that's going to be hard to prove unless they can get into a Hamas facility, somewhere away from the hospital and see that some of the equipment and some of the supplies dedicated for the hospital actually found their way, directly into a Hamas bunker. So that might be yet to be seen. 4, as an entry point to a labyrinth of terrorist tunnels, I think we still need to see some exploitation of those tunnels, which is a big ask. I got it. I don't want to be the one going down there, so it's nasty business. But it does look like the IDF has uncovered at least a couple tunnel entrances in and around the hospital. Of course, more still yet to be seen there. And then 5, as a bunker for Hamas leaders. Now, interestingly enough, I don't think the existence of a bunker under the hospital is debated much anymore, just because news came out that Israel actually helped construct that a few decades ago. So the question would not be now, does the bunker exist? Is it there? But is it being used for the hospital and hospital staff and medical purposes, or has it been utilized by Hamas for military purposes? Elsewhere across Gaza, the IDF continued ground operations, clearing Hamas facilities across Gaza City. They said that they uncovered assault rifles, RPGs, explosive devices, mortars, and some longer-range rockets like the Badr 3 shown here. Now, with that news, about the same time that came out, Hamas decided to publish a video of one of their fighters firing the Badr 3 rocket. Now, I don't think that this video is current, at least not a launch from the last couple days here. I just haven't seen the announcements. Israel puts out a lot of information about interceptions and even detonations in Israeli territory. Haven't seen anything that would suggest that a munition of this size was launched from inside of Gaza in the last couple days. However, I think it's interesting that as soon as Israel releases the first images of capturing some of these Badr 3 rockets, one of the first things Hamas does is release footage of them actually firing that munition. Now, speaking of Hamas, they released some footage in the past couple days showing rather close-range combat with Israeli soldiers. We're talking a building or two away in some urban centers of Gaza. It looks like the Hamas fighters are engaging the IDF with RPGs and small arms. And the footage that we've got is pretty choppy. It's bouncing around a lot. I mean, it's in the middle of a firefight, to be fair. But it does look like, just from the clips I've seen, that Israel did sustain a few casualties during that engagement. Now, Palestinian sources are saying that the Al-Fakura school in northern Gaza was hit by an Israeli airstrike sometime in the past few hours. This is an area, the Al-Fakura school, where many are believed to have taken shelter after fleeing their homes across Gaza amidst all of the fighting. So as of this recording, I haven't seen any official statements from Israel related to this event. There has been video coming out from the scene right away. A lot of video came out right away, and it's pretty graphic, honestly. If you go looking for it, just be prepared. It's what you would expect to see when there is a detonation in a densely packed area. There's a lot of bodies, a lot of gore, it's pretty rough. Early reports are that somewhere between 50 and 200 have been killed. Hard to tell from what we've seen so far. It certainly a lot of bodies scattered across that area at this point, and it does sound like the cleanup and the casualty collection is still ongoing. Overnight, Israel announced that they arrested 3 men in Jerusalem of being suspected members of Islamic State. Supposedly, these 3 men in their 20s had pledged their allegiance to the organization and had concrete plans to leave Israel and to join the group. So they're not going to Gaza to fight or not trying to, take up arms in the West Bank. They're leaving Israel to join Islamic State. Israel says that the pro-Islamic State materials and large amounts of cash were found when they searched the suspects' homes. Additionally, over the past couple days, 30,000 Israelis have marched from Tel Aviv to the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem, a distance of around 60 kilometers, to demand the release of the hostages held by Hamas. Now, a term I've seen thrown out during some of these interviews is at all costs. Bring our people home at all costs, which I imagine you could probably interpret a couple different ways. But overall, it sounds like they just want to hear a plan and that the return of the hostages is a priority for the Israeli government. Shifting elsewhere in the Middle East, U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria were attacked 3 more times in the past couple days. That brings the total since October 17th to 60 attacks against U.S. forces, likely by Iranian-backed militias in the region. So the U.S. says that these attacks took place in Erbil, as well as Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq, and Tal Baydar in Syria. They added that this new wave of attacks resulted in 1 American casualty. But that's all I got for now. Be sure to check out Substack, where I publish national security sit-reps once a week, as well as ad-free, sponsor-free videos about 1 hour before they go live on YouTube. If interested, link is in the description below. But thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.